Thomas Dang. And when you elect someone who was just really a placeholder, who never thought they had a chance in a million of winning and suddenly wakes up one day in a position of power, you're going to get some unusual characters that were not vetted in any way. I mean, Thomas Dang was doing the NDP a favor when he let his name stand in Edmonton South. They never thought they'd win in Edmonton South. And Thomas Dang, a man without character, experience, wisdom, or really any useful skills, became an MLA. But I guess he did have one skill set that is, I guess, a little bit impressive when you look at it coldly, which is he's a computer hacker, or at least he knows how to hack websites. And so the government of Alberta set up a vaccine database website as part of their vaccine passport system, their vaccine mandate system. And young Thomas Dang took it upon himself to see if he could hack it, to see if he could get into it and enter someone's name and birthday and see if he could get their private health records. This, of course, is a crime. He did this not once, not twice. He did this more than 1 million times. So how did he do it 1 million times? Well, he obviously set up an automated system. He claims that he did this wearing a white hat, not a black hat, that he was doing it as a good hacker, an ethical hacker, to show the government the holes in their system. But of course, that doesn't add up. He was, of course, he didn't go to the government. He told his own party what he was up to. You don't do that. Your party's on. This was when Kenny was the premier and he was in opposition. Well, he has finally been prosecuted and convicted, and now he's being sentenced. No jail time for this criminal politician. Joining us now to talk more about it is someone who lives in Northern Alberta, our friend Sheila Gunn Reid, our chief reporter. Sheila, I don't know if I properly summed up the story here. Thomas Dang was literally one of the, like when a high tide comes in and there's like all sorts of, like there's big logs and big ships, but there's like empty bottles of pop and masks and like little, you know, it's like garbage, like styrofoam cups that get washed ashore. That's Thomas Dang. He got washed ashore in the big
He's the
orange
rubber
wave.
boot that fell off the fishing boat, and he just came up with the driftwood. That's exactly who he is. And I think you downplayed it a little bit about just the extent of how much he searched. It was definitely over 1 million, but I think it was 1.78 million searches of that database that he did. Like
that's almost every Albertan adult. Like, I mean, there's 4.5 million Albertans, I think. So there's like 2 or 3 million adults. Like he searched the half of Albertans.
Yes, he did. And I guess the real controversy now is, what did Rachel Notley know about all of this, and when did she know it? I know that the United Conservative Caucus has really been hammering on this, and it was back in July that unsealed court records, or at least unsealed police investigation records, set up the timeline about when Dang was doing this. And he was doing this last September, and it came to light in December. And the court records were ultimately unsealed, I guess, January 15th. And Rachel Notley said in December, when all of this came to light, that she had just heard anecdotal reports that something like this had been happening back in September.
What does that even mean, an anecdotal report? Like, you either know that Thomas Dang hacked it or you don't. What's an anecdote? Oh, I hear a rumor that Thomas Dang hacked the website. Like it's so specific. What does that mean, anecdotal?
Well, from what I understand, according to these unsealed records, it means that her chief of staff knew. It means that 20 minutes after Dang was able to confirm manually his own automated search, he called the chief of staff for Rachel Notley and let him know what he had done.
I find
it very hard to believe that she didn't know 1 minute after that phone call in.
Well, the chief of staff is literally Rachel Notley's agent, her chief go-between. It's not just that. If you are a white hat hacker, I'm just trying to expose the weaknesses in the system. You call the government, you call the people who run the website, you call the police. You don't call the head of partisan dirty tricks on your team. You call your NDP chief of staff, hey guys, look what I found out. We can put this to our use somehow. Like why would you call the head of your party, your party's chief of staff, if you wanted to do the right thing for the world? I mean, it's just such an implausible excuse that only the CBC would believe it.
Well, it
The
gets
judge
even
didn't
better.
believe it. Let me put it that way. The judge didn't believe it.
Definitely not. And it gets even better because what you say is, you know, you don't have a crystal ball, but you probably have a crystal mind, because not only did he inform the chief of staff, but also Rachel Notley's communications director. So they were actually figuring out how best to use this flaw in the system that Thomas Dang thought he had found, but ultimately was, you know, committing a criminal act that he should have known better, because he was in government. He knows that you have to protect private information and not go needling around for it. But he's in trouble, I guess. Now he won't see the inside of a jail cell. And in Alberta, the mainstream media doesn't really care because, well, it's the NDP and they're up against the UCP, and the completely homogenous media here in Alberta, they're cheering for Rachel Notley as hard as they cheer for Justin Trudeau.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.